Okay, today is Unit 11, Lesson 1. It's about exponents. So we're going to be starting with this is in words, okay? Again, I understand some of you like to read your answers. My wife, for instance, if I ever am explaining something to her, she says, let me see it on paper. Well, there it is, on paper. So if you want to see it on paper with a property, it's good for you math-wise to see this because in the real world, when you're in a class in math, like not necessarily this class, but as you move into college, you have to do some of your learning from reading it. Okay, so I want you to just look at the first one, number 1, and read it and understand what they're saying with all of those variables in there, what they're saying you're supposed to do. All right, hopefully that made it pretty clear that this, again, is the letters I'm talking about, the variables. It's all in variables. Here's an example problem, which of course makes it easier. That basically when you're in this kind, it's multiplying it like this, as opposed to multiplying like that, which would be totally different. You are supposed to add them. All right, so basically dividing them, you'd subtract. We talked about this. The only problem is, what if the one on the bottom is bigger? You'll have a to the negative something. And you're never allowed to leave an answer, like, let's say it was like this, 5, no, a to the 5th over a to the 7th. When I take 5 minus 7, I get negative 2. The answer to this is a to the negative 2, but you're not allowed to leave it that way. Do you get really that when the a's have canceled each other, that there's more left on the bottom and there's none on the top, so it's really 1 over a squared. Okay, so you can't leave negative exponents in your answer. So if you were going to end up with a negative after you subtracted, you have to make sure that you change it to 1 over and make it a positive 2. Okay, power to a power, when it's like this, you multiply these two. So if it was, for instance, x to the 5th to the 3rd, that would be x to the 15th. And product to a power, basically, if you have parentheses on this, it's almost like you're distributing. You go a to the m, and you go b to the m. Both of them get put to the m power. All right, let's do some more. When you're dividing them like this, when you're dividing them in a quotient, like a little divide problem, and then you put it to a power, you just put it separately on each of them. So if I had 1/2 to the 2nd, that would basically mean I would have 1 squared and the 2 squared. So that would be 1 squared, which is 1, or 2 squared, which is 4. You square both of them. Now, if it's an actual, like this, fraction of two things, then each of them just has to be put to the 4, and that means multiply in this case. So this 2 has to be to the 4, and that's 2 times 4 makes to the 8th on the bottom. All right, so basically the 4, it's kind of distributing again. That 4 goes to each of them. All right, anything to the 0 exponent is defined as 1. This is a big one. You're going to see this. A to the 0, automatically it's 1. What about 14 to the 0 power? How about that? That's the common mistake is 14. Anything to the 0 power is 1. It's going to be 1. And the common answer people think is, oh, it's 14. It's not. All right, let me show you why. A lot of people knew that anything to the 0 power is 1, but they may not know why. All right, let me show you a couple examples. Let's say I had 5 to the 1st power, 5 to the 2nd power. Well, 5 to the 1st power is 5, right? 5 to the 2nd power is 25, right? Well, then if I go down to 5 to the 0 power, it shouldn't be 5, right? 5 to the 0 power shouldn't be the same thing as 5 to the 1st power. It should be smaller than 5. And what did we go to get from here to here? We've got 1/5 as big, right? What's 1/5 as big as 5? 1. So it makes sense. It'll work for all of them. 2 is even easier to understand. 2 to the 2nd, 2 to the 1st, 2 to the 0. Let's do 2 to the 2nd first. That's 4. 2 to the 1st, that's 2. And you get I was going half as big, and then half of 2 would be, what? 1. And into the 0 power is 1. So if they have 14.78 to the 0 power, it's still 1. It's always going to be 1. Okay, so let's move on. Simplify without negatives. So basically, this thing's got a negative in it. The way I'd like to think of this is everything is a big fraction, and it's just a big fraction over 1. You can divide anything by 1? So if this is a big fraction and it's over 1, that c is not happy where it is on the second level. It wants to be down on the first level. And so let's put him down on that first level. And this a to the 0 is kind of just a distraction, because what's a to the 0 really equal to? 1. And so this is really just 1. And 1 times b to the 5th is just b to the 5th. So it's almost like it disappears. It really is turning into a 1. And then that 1 times the other stuff the 1 can just not be written. So we say b to the 5th over, and we're going to put c down where he's happy. So if you were negative, you're not happy, and now when you're happy, you're not negative anymore. Does that make sense? I'll tell you a short story that'll help you remember the whole, if it's got a negative, it's not happy where it is. My dad's condos in Florida had 2 levels. Okay, so you had the upstairs level and the downstairs level, and it was like right on a little pond on a little lake. And some people swore by you wanted to be in the upstairs level because you get better breeze up there. But my dad knew that as you get older, it gets harder and harder to like walk around. Some even older folks have like walkers and stuff. And then you have to walk upstairs to get to the condos that are upstairs. So he was like, no, 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 no. You want the ones on the bottom level. Those are way better, because all the older folks, which is a lot of people in Florida, want the ones on the bottom level. So you want to buy the bottom level one. So some people are on the top saying, dang, my knee hurts every time I walk up these stairs. I wish I was on the bottom level. And there's other people that are on the bottom level saying, oh, I wish I had the better breeze and the better view that's upstairs. See what I mean? All right. And I can tell you what the definitive answer is in Miami. You know which one you want? If you're going to give, someone's going to give you one or the other, which one would you want in Miami? The upper level. Every extra floor you go up in Miami adds $10,000 to the cost of the unit. And now that's a typical condo. So every extra floor, $10,000 more. So by the time you go up 10 floors, you're $100,000 more for that same condo. Why? That's true. When you have like hurricanes and that kind of stuff, the ones on the very lower level, they're the ones that get flooded. It's another reason some people in Florida would say you want the upper one because you won't get flooded when the water rises. What else? What else is nicer in Miami? Yes. Yeah. When you get up 10 floors or 20 floors or 30 floors up, you get an awesome view out over the ocean and everything. And so anyway, it's 10,000 more per floor. All right, that's just a little side thought about the actual, like whether you want to be on the top or the bottom. And again, in Miami, only one person's on the lowest floor, on the bottom floor, right? On a 30-floor building, only one person can actually get there without having to get in the elevator. Okay, so there is maybe some advantage to the very bottom floor, but they have a terrible view compared to the people that are up 30 floors. So, okay. Moral of the story, if they're not happy where they are, move them to the other place. So if you had one like this, 2x squared y over 3y to the negative third, do you get that those y's that are not happy where they are have to be moved? That's the only thing you have to do to make this problem right. Go ahead and try this one. 2x squared y over 3y to the third. The 2 and the 3 can't be simplified. You should look for that, but in this case, they can't be. But those y's that are negative, let's make them happy. So as soon as you put the y to the third up here, you realize, hopefully, that those y's should go together and make y to the what? Y to the fourth. Final answer, 2x squared y to the fourth over 3. All right, let's do another one like that, except I think there's some written like this. Notice there's no negatives in it. But once you actually simplify things, you're going to end up with a negative. And then you're going to need to make sure you put that x to the negative whatever in the right spot. On this one, I'd like you to turn it my way and show me when you're done, and I'll tell you if you did it right. I'll take a minute before I'm ready to check them. I'll pause for a second while you're trying this. Okay, the numbers simplify with the other numbers, and that makes 9 goes in there 3, and 9 goes in there twice, right? 3 over 2. And then the x's, these guys, the x to the 5th is left, and it's on the bottom. Now, if you had said x to the negative 5th and put it on top, I'd have to mark it wrong, because you can't have negatives in your exponents. X to the 5th on the bottom. So 3 over 2, x to the 5th. Okay, and then the y's, there's y to the 4th left on top, and the last one is the z's. This is a z to the 1, of course, and if I do 1 minus 4 is z to the negative 3rd, that means I should put them on the bottom level and make them happy. Z to the 3rd. There you go. Raise your hand if you had that same thing as I did. Okay, good. I think you're good at that, partially because we've been practicing it, at least for those of you that were with me first semester. Simplify without negative exponents. All right, so there's just tons of negative exponents running around here. Do you get that this is over 1? That's really one of the most important things with fractions is make fractions work with other fractions. If it's not a fraction problem, make it so that there's both of them have fractions. Fractions will play nice with other fractions. These aren't happy where they are, they go down. These aren't happy where they are, they go up. So all this stuff, without even doing the 5th power thing, comes out to there's n to the 9th on top, and then there's an n to the 9th on the bottom. And what is n to the 9th over n to the 9th equal to? 1. So this all simplifies down to 1 to the 5th. And that's just 1. Okay? All right. This one. First off, let's do this bottom part first. Remember that if this is kind of like having a parenthesis around it because it's a big part of a fraction. There's nothing to do on the top, otherwise, except for later we're going to move that m down. But we can do something on the bottom. This 2 has to be put to the 3rd, and so does this m to the negative 4th has to be put to the 3rd. So my new answer is 2m to the negative 4th over 2 to the 3rd is 8. M to the negative 4th to the 3rd is m to the negative 12. Now I can move these guys and make them happy. These guys want to go down, and these guys want to go up. So now it's 2m to the 12 over 8m to the 4th. Now I can do my final simplifying. Now it's just like the kind I'm doing on the top 20. This becomes 1 over 4. And then the m to the 12, m to the 4, that's going to simplify down with a bunch of m's left on top. M to the 8th on top, I think. Do you agree? Okay. All right. Good. This one, again, there's nothing to do here, so let's do that. And you'll have b a to the 4 times 2 to the negative 3rd. Ooh, wait a minute. 2 to the negative 3rd? How about if we just do the negative part of that? Do you get that that means the whole thing, which is on top of a 1, that this whole thing is like it's unhappy and therefore needs to move down? I'm just doing this part here. Ignore this for now. This negative 3rd power means the whole thing has to flip and go to the bottom. 2ba to the 4th. I just put it all on the bottom. Now it'll be happier where it is. And now I've done the negative part. I haven't done the cubing yet. You get what I just did there? So this negative here, I just made it flip, and now it's not unhappy anymore. Now the people that were on the bottom are on the top, and the people that were on the top are on the bottom. And now there's no negatives anymore. Now I just got to go 1 to the 3rd, which is 1. 2 to the 3rd, which is 8. B to the 3rd, which is b to the 3rd. And a to the 4th to the 3rd, which is a to the 12th. All right. This one, whew, heavy duty. So first thing I would do is the negative part of this thing. And I would, oh wait, actually I wouldn't. You know how the math, the order is, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, parentheses are first? I would do this whole thing first. Once I got done simplifying it, I would do the negative, which will make everything flip. So the things that are on the top go to the bottom and vice versa. And the last thing I would do is square everything I had left. So this is first, second, third. To save you time, I'm assigning you the evens of the worksheet. If there's parts that have multiple parts, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then you can do every other one except the even letters, which would be like B and D. Okay, so the even and the even letters. That's it for today.